Good morning, everybody. I'm saying good morning loosely, Louis.
Why? It's a good morning.
Yeah, it
It's
is morning,
certainly
but
morning,
I don't
yeah.
know about it being a good morning. Holy cow, it's raw out there.
I know. I came in. It was miserable. I thought you'd have this fixed by now, though.
Well, you know something, it's going to change. Next week is going to be decent. Next week is going to be nice. It's going to get warm again. Think about these guys that are at Hampton Beach and Salisbury Beach or the Cape or wherever, and they have restaurants, and you have to put an order in, say, by Wednesday.
Yep.
How do you judge? How do you figure it? You're making fried clams. Do I buy 600 pounds? Do I buy 100? It's got to be nerve-wracking. You hate the freezer stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah.
I mean, they've been losing a lot of money on weekends around here locally. I mean, we had 8 or 9 Saturdays that it rained.
Yep. It's like February 109 here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much money did you make in the Kentucky Derby?
Less than $20. Not a big horse player.
You had the winner?
Yeah, I had the winner. I played a couple horses, so
I like the gray horse.
I didn't pick the winner right out.
I like the gray horse. He's, I think, number 17. The winner was number 18. Those horses are amazing animals. They're beautiful.
Yep.
They're beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, look, what's better than going down the Cape in the springtime, summertime, and fall?
Nothing.
Is there anything better?
Nothing.
Especially if you go midweek.
Yeah.
Because the weekend, I'll be honest with you, I don't have the patience to put up with people.
Yep.
But I'll tell you, you give me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I freaking love it. And see this guy smiling. You see him over there.
He lives on the Cape. You can tell.
That's it.
Yeah.
He's happy-go-lucky, man. I don't worry about nothing. That's Rob Costa. Rob, how are you? Welcome to the Sicilian Corner, brother.
Thank you very much. How are you?
Good. I like the beard. I
Thanks.
asked you before, I know now you're offering tours on the water, which I think is a great feature. And you told me the beard wasn't just because of the boat. You've had it for quite a while.
Yeah. It's kind of Dune-ish, It makes me feel like I'm a Dune guy,
Yep.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Got a little bit of bohemian blood in you?
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it.
Who has a better job than Rob?
Really, look at the guy smiling, for God's sakes.
I do have to admit, I have one of the best jobs around.
I would think so. And you run Arts Dune Tours. You own it.
Yeah.
Your dad started you off in the right direction. I would like to have you, before we get into exactly what the tours are all about, can you tell us a little something about your dad?
Yeah. He was an amazing man. Both my parents were just really super nice. They were very well liked in the community, but they were both born and raised here in Provincetown. And my father was born in 1920, and just shortly after his parents came over from Portugal. My grandparents came from the Algarve, so they were all fishermen.
Sure.
My whole family is a line of fishermen, and starting with my grandparents, my Uncle Tony, that came over from Portugal. I have cousins in Portugal that are fishermen. I have cousins in Provincetown that are fishermen. My brother's a fisherman, and my nephew's a fisherman. But my dad wasn't so much a fisherman like me. We were kind of more like dune lovers. But he did not want to fish, so he worked for the Ford dealership here in Provincetown, and he also worked for a guy named Mitch's Beach Taxi, which way back then took people out in the dunes in the back shore to look out shipwrecks or fish or whatever, and they kind of went out there through the dunes. But there were several other companies, doing this stuff, but my father was young and didn't want to fish, so we worked for him. Then he got called to war. He fought in Italy. He came back with a Purple Heart and an oak leaf cluster.
Oh, wow.
And he immediately came back and called his buddies at the Ford dealership and bought a 1936 Ford Woody. And he started Arts Beach Taxi, along with some other beach taxis in town. And then it developed into a tour company. And then he drove for at least 50 years of his life. And then sadly he got sick with Alzheimer's, and that's when I came back home to take over the family business. And I've been driving roughly dunes maybe 40 years of my life, which is amazing because I'm only 41.
Yeah. Gandhi.
Right.
Uh,
But
so
that's how we started.
well, that's what got you started. Sure, there's no question about that. How big are what's the territory that Provincetown Dunes covers is approximately what to what? Where to
It's
where?
about 4,000 acres just in Provincetown. Like on the whole Cape, there's approximately 44,000 acres.
Louis.
But in Provincetown rural area, yeah, it's about 4,000 of the big sand dunes that no one else has on the Cape other than, our little section here, the 4,000 is really quite big.
The one thing that impressed me about the sand dunes in Provincetown was some of the height that those dunes reach. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing when you see a lot of sand. It's another thing when you see 80-foot plus sand dune.
Some of them are 110 feet tall. Like, I don't know, the picture that's on the ad here, that's where we stop for pictures. That's 65 feet above sea level right there.
Wow.
And I didn't even know it look like it. There's dunes that are even taller, but looking behind us at our picture stop. It's beautiful.
So it's known as the Cape Cod National Seashore, and it's ever changing, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah, it really is. It's there's something out there for everybody too. I mean, you have people that go there for peace and quiet, for the extreme beauty, for the exercise, for the history, the art history, the history of the life-saving service. They go out for the geology, the ecology. You have music lovers, artists, writers, poets. You have tourists that I take and they learn all about the area. So there's something for everyone out there. It's truly a beautiful place, and it is ever changing. You can go out there in the rain, and the dunes look completely different with the coloring, as opposed to if you're out there on a beautiful sunny day. So, and then the vegetation pops in the rain. So it's not a bad thing to do in the rain. It's a good thing to do because you're out of the rain for an hour. You still see beautiful scenery. You get all the history. The guides are fantastic. We do a nice job with that. And
I agree 100%.
Yep.
We had a young lady that was our driver, and man, I'll tell you, I learned more about those dunes in an hour or so than
yeah,
the thing that amazed me the most, Louis. You look and the place looks like the Sahara Desert. You know what I mean? Nothing but beautiful white sand, up valleys, up and down, and this, that, and the other thing.
And
But
it's so
they,
vast. Yeah.
the dunes, the shacks, and Art's going to talk about that. Rob's going to talk about that shortly. You go down 6 feet, you're going to get fresh water some places,
It's amazing.
which shocks me because
Yeah.
it looks like it doesn't belong there. Fresh water with all that sand. And that's drinkable, right?
Yeah, it's part of the aquifer. So it's basically a layer of fresh water floating on the denser salt water below. And it's almost like suspended. And that's true all over the Cape, but it's just weird seeing it in the sand dunes.
Yeah.
Wow.
When it's really, and it really gets affected by rain, obviously. But if you have a high surf or astronomical high tide in those low-lying valleys in the dunes, the salt water that's below that aquifer will actually, because there's such an influx of salt, it pushes up, and the salt water is denser, so the fresh water floats on the salt water. But in a low-lying valley, you'll get fresh water just puddled in the sand dunes. That's why it looks so weird, because it looks like an oasis, and it is drinkable.
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Rob,
one of our listeners is saying good morning to you. That's Nancy DeMarco. And Nancy listens to the show all the time, and she always has something to say hello and whatnot. And she's been with us the whole 25 years, really. It's unbelievable. But you mentioned the shacks and life-saving. Could you just tell our Sicilian Corner listeners what that was about and what you meant by that when you said life-saving shacks?
Life-saving stations. So the Massachusetts Humane Society back in the early 1800s, I think they might have started in the late 1700s, but they were the first, quote, lifesavers, so to speak. They weren't an organized effort right away, but they started putting up beach huts on the coast of Massachusetts. I think they were red, but don't quote me on that. But there were these huts on the beach that were put up so that any shipwreck survivor could make it into shore. They can go to this beach hut, and they would actually be able to survive until they were rescued. They had, dry clothes and food and water and everything.
What a great idea.
But then by 1806, there were 18 beach huts. We call them beach huts back then. And then they started progressively through the years patrolling the beaches and acquiring boats. And then they, believe it or not, later on became the model of the United States Life-Saving Service. They modeled it right after the Humane Society. And so you had lifesavers that were kind of inspired by these beach huts to maybe they were working out there when they became lifesavers. So they were inspired by the beach huts to build their own little shacks. And that's how the dune shacks kind of emerged from the beach huts that were part of lifesavers.
I get it.
Efforts.
Well, the other thing, the waters are very dangerous in that area.
Yeah.
And before the Cape Cod Canal was built, there was a lot of ship activity. So, a lot of these ships would run aground. As a matter of fact, I'm sure that some of those shacks back in the day was built from driftwood that came ashore from some of those boats.
Definitely.
And it's an interesting story how that got going.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you came ashore in the middle of the night in the wintertime, you needed protection from the elements. I don't care if you're at the Cape or not, it's cold.
Right.
And they had a place to go, and I'm sure they had probably some wood burning stove and something to get it lit by, and and it protected them until someone could find them. And I love that story. I think it's absolutely incredible. Rob, we have Roger Trudell, and he's saying, "Good morning, gentlemen."
Good
And he
morning.
wants to know, because he knows you got a lot of clout. Where's the sun? His tomatoes are screaming at him. He's our professional gardener. We have him, and we have Peter Scipoletti, and these guys furnish the Sicilian corner with all fresh vegetables. And I'll tell you, we got the greatest listeners, man. We make out like a bandit. Really, really do. We really do. I mentioned the Cape Cod Canal. And to our listeners out there, before I mention it, or Rob mentions it, think about how long that Cape Cod Canal is, and come up with a number. And as we go on, we're going to tell you exactly how long the Cape Cod Canal is, and what a time saver.
Yeah.
Louis, 137 miles it saves from a boat to go to New York off Cape Cod.
Yeah,
Coming through around Provincetown.
it's much more sheltered than out in the open ocean, too.
137 miles it saves.
Yeah, that's a shortcut.
Rob, that's amazing, huh? When you think about it.
Yeah. And that's what reduced the amount of the shipwrecks over the years.
Yeah, exactly.
Occurred after that, but the ships didn't have to come around the peninsula, obviously. And it's funny because the first canal that was built, 1911, I believe, that was it wasn't as the canal that it is today. It was shallower and narrower. And then they redid it in 1930, I think, by the Army Corps of Engineers, and that deepened it and widened it, and that became the largest sea level canal in the world when they did that.
No kidding, in the world.
Yeah. Yep. Largest sea level.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. The to save that many miles and time and money, boy, oh boy, that's incredible. And now we get some whales that come up through the canal, and it's wide enough that it can support it. And to me, I love that. I love that kind of stuff. Now, the Army Corps of Engineers is in charge of the canal now and the bridges.
I'm not sure about now, but they're the ones that redid the canal, and I believe they did the bridge too in 35.
Yeah, they did the Sagamore, the Bourne.
Yeah. I don't know who's in charge of it now.
Okay. We're going to have to take a break shortly, but when we come back, I want you to describe from beginning to end about one of your tours.
Okay.
And the reason I asked you to come on is if I go someplace that I love to write, I love to talk about places that are different and great experiences. And I like to share that with our listeners. And it's something that I like. And, you know, most of our listeners, they get a kick out of it. Plus, it gives them some ideas of going someplace with a tank full of gas.
Yeah.
And that saves so much money and not having to go with the gold star in your license and all that baloney that goes along with it. And they treat you like animals. I don't know. Flying has really soured me lately. And getting in the car, putting the oldie station on, put it on cruise control. Oh, it doesn't get much better than that, Louis. Right? Yeah. Louis, you want to go out for a break? Would you like to go for a break?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Yes, we'll go.
Okie dokie.
Yep.
Off we go. We'll listen to some of our sponsors. And Art, if you're watching the show live, take a look at some of these sponsors we have on this show.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back, everybody.
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao.
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
When you dine at Ristorante Melisse in Amesbury, Massachusetts, you feel at home while enjoying an authentic Italian dining experience not to be forgotten. From the appetizer to dessert, you won't regret your choice. Bring your cravings and appetites. They promise you won't leave hungry or without leftovers for the next day. Takeout and catering are also available. Give them a call or visit them online for the menu, online ordering, and reservations. RistoranteMelisse.com. That's RistoranteMolise.com or call 978-388-4844. Ristorante Melisse, where you're treated like family. Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Catadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Catadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy.
And Mike Kunstler.
Owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Drake, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
He is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery, tender, lazy man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
And we are back, and our guest is Rob Costa, and he owns Arts Dune Tours out of Provincetown. Yours truly has been his guest on several occasions, and I really got a lot out of it. It was really a nice thing to do, and that's why I asked Rob to come on with us today. I want to say good morning to Andy Parisi. Andy, how are you, buddy? Good hearing from you. Roger Trudell. Roger says it was instrumental to coastal defenses and security during World War II. And he's got a good point, Rob, because U-2 boats were right off the Provincetown coast. And they were trying to raise havoc with all this shipping that was coming around the Cape. And when they built the canal, at least they were able to protect some of these boats and ships from coastal areas where they could be on land and protect the boats going up the Cape Cod Canal. The one thing I do want to mention, we alluded to earlier, the Cape Cod Canal is only 7.4 miles long. 7. Man, I thought that thing, I thought it was like 60 miles. 7.4 miles long. Now, Rob, I'm in Provincetown. Yeah. I want to see and do as much as I possibly can. And I read about your tours and how long you've been doing this. You're my tour guide. How would you start your tour?
Well, I usually, when I depart, I get all the hellos out of the way. In other words, like find out where people are from. Is it their first time with us?
How many people in a tour?
We take roughly 6 per truck.
Personalized.
Yep. So we kind of, you want to find out where people are from, and it's always nice because you could pull some of that. Sometimes the history might correlate to where they might be from.
Good point. Good point.
And to tie it in and make them feel kind of part of it too. It doesn't always work out that way, but sometimes. And then once we get off the road, the highway's only just a couple minutes part of the tour. And then once we hit that soft sand, we check our tire pressure. So we have to exit the truck, and people are wondering probably, where's he going? They just left us here. But, we have to deflate our tires, make sure they're at 11 pounds. And once we make it up, that's 11 pounds, yeah, PSI. Because the sand is so soft, we need like really good traction of these tires. But once we get up to the top, you see Old East Harbor, which is formerly known as Pilgrim Lake, and everybody says, "Oh my God!" They just can't believe how vast it is, how beautiful it is. And that's how we start, and then we kind of slowly wind our way. It feels like a safari. The truck's more like up and down, side by side. It's not a fast and crazy ride. It's all seashore protected. But then we start talking about the history of the region, of obviously the Pilgrim Lake and the Old East Harbor, and how it used to be connected in the fishing and whaling days. Then we immediately see vegetation. So we start talking about the vegetation. There's all kinds of flowers and plants and vegetables and fruits out there. So people really like to learn about that. And then
the plants that grow, that you have a rose that has a tendency to grow in harsh conditions. And that's the Ragusa rose.
Rosa rugosa.
Yeah. And it's amazing. When that's blooming, it must look nice, huh?
It's beautiful. That's in June.
With white sand.
And then those are from the Orient. They're not indigenous to the Cape.
Right.
They're not from here, but they do really well for beach erosion and dune erosion. But the scent of that rose is, as you know, it's very beautiful smelling.
Very pungent.
Yeah. And,
I use the word pungent, Louis. You know why?
Why?
I went to Lawrence High School.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
That word's above my pay grade.
The other thing, I noticed a lot of seagrass. Now, that's not from your area either, right?
It is indigenous to the Northeast. Many years ago, they did bring in a foreign grass. It looks exactly like the type of dune grass that is out there. It is from the New England area, but you can't tell the difference between the two. But they did a lot of grass planting, and they were grass planting even way back in the 1800s.
They were.
Yeah, because once the deforestation really, it was from the colonists that needed wood to build homes and boats and all that stuff. So, the dunes weren't even the dunes back in the Pilgrim days. Those were all forests.
That was all trees.
All trees, yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So once the trees were gone, the topsoil eventually blew away. And then once enough sand was exposed, the dunes were created over many years of wind and erosion. But yeah, the dune grass is planted in many places to try to stabilize some of those dunes.
Now, you're the only tour that's allowed to go into the dunes in the Provincetown area, correct?
Not necessarily. We were the only ones for the longest time left doing it, because like I said in the beginning, there were tons of beach taxi companies. And even when I was growing up, there was probably 16 or 17 dune tour companies through the years. But for the longest time, my father just persevered, because you know what? He wasn't in it for the money. He just absolutely, it was his passion. He loved to do it.
That's wonderful, huh?
We just kept going, whether he made money or didn't make money. He just loved it. So for the longest time, we were the only ones for years and years and years. And I think people thought that we were just kind of grandfathered in there. But there's a couple companies, they do sunset tours, but like photography tours. And then there's a picnic company that does picnics out on the beach and stuff. So they're allowed to operate on the National Seashore. We don't have exclusivity because it's a national park, so it's going to open to everybody. But we were just the only ones running for the longest time.
So your tour, how long are you must have a route that you take through the dunes?
Yeah, it's strictly given to us by the Park Service, and we're regulated. We have to follow all the rules, which we do. We have a great relationship with the Park Service. My father taught a lot of those park rangers. He was in business long before the Park Service was established in '61. So my father taught a lot of those park rangers how to drive out there. And ever since then, they've come to know Art and the family and what we do and how we do it. And it's always been they've always appreciated what we do and how we do it. So we've always had a great relationship with the park.
So we take a trip through the dunes, and now we're back on the beach, and you have sunset tours?
Yeah, we do the sunset tour. So the daytime rides, they're hour longs all day long, 5 trips during the day. And then The other tour is a sunset tour, which is basically the hour tour, but with extended time on the back shore on the beach.
Yeah.
Where we set up chairs on the beach, are not too
Yeah.
low, and we sit and just watch the sunset. Now, because Provincetown's,
I didn't want to leave.
where it's located, you can see the on this one beach on the back shore, you can see the sunrise and the sunset from the same beach over the Atlantic Ocean.
Really?
Because we're so far north and east that you're looking at the sun setting, looks like a West Coast sunset, but it's over the Atlantic Ocean. So it's kind of deceiving. It's kind of interesting.
Wow.
But our sunset tours are nice because we serve food. We do lobster bakes, chicken dinners.
Oh.
We do half-pound lobster rolls. We do smaller sandwiches too. And people could bring their own food because ours are a little pricey, but they're massive. They're big and hearty, and we do sell a lot of them. But we encourage people, if you're on a budget, certainly bring your own food. You just do the tour, get out there and see the sunset or the dune tours. Either way.
Well, I have to tell you, and I said I'm speaking from experience. I have never met you. I reached out to you because your tours really, really impressed me. And Provincetown has so much to offer between outstanding restaurants and everything else. And, it does get a little bit crowded in the summertime, but, something the fall, and that's when we were there. Last time was just perfect, just perfect. Your tours run from what date to what date?
First, I want to thank you for those kind words. I really appreciate it.
No, I'm being serious.
But it does mean a lot.
My listeners know about me. I call it the way I see it. If I'm at a restaurant and I think I'm having my pockets picked,
Oh, we've heard that. Yes.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to say it. To be honest with you, I try to be as honest as I possibly can be, and I think through the years, people have gotten to know that.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So with your tours, your sunset tours, Rob, I live on the north end of Plum Island up here, and we don't get an ocean sunset, but we get a pretty good sunset here because we're far enough away from the, we got enough of a horizon to get a great sunset.
Right.
Once a month on full moons, you can get that sunset and that moonrise within like 20 minutes of each other, and that's got to be spectacular out there.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable. Yeah. It's charge extra for that,
You should. Spectacular.
We're talking about the National Seashore, and none of this would have been possible, Lou, if it wasn't for President Kennedy and Senator Saltonstall, because they're the ones that, when they were both senators, they initiated the bill that came forth.
Yeah,
to keep this land the way it looks today, 500 years down the road, it'll look the same.
Oh, Kennedy certainly had a relationship with the Cape.
Yeah, well, this is it, and picture the Cape, that section of Cape, how valuable that land is on the water, and having one house after another, one house bigger than the next house next to it. And you go and you look, and it's just, it's simple, but it really gets to you. It really gets to you. You say, wow.
Yeah.
You watch the wind coming up over the dunes, and you can see the light sand striking down. The other thing is, Rob, I'm telling you, you know this, but the sand is so smooth from being wind driven.
Yeah.
There must be a lot of snakes in the dunes area, right? And once in a while, you'll see a snake make his way over a dune and come down the other side. And you're on one of Art's tours, and you look, and you can see the mark that he's making in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, little things like that amaze me. I don't know. What kind of animals are in the dunes? Because that's a big area.
Yeah, there's several species of snakes out there. The two most common would be the hognose and the black racer. And the black racers are
the black racer.
Yeah,
wow.
They're big. And they're not venomous, so they're nothing dangerous. But we also have white-tailed deer, fox, rabbit, squirrels, little box turtles, rabbits, mice, little chipmunks too. You see them all the time.
Chipmunks are too cute.
Toads.
I have a bunch of them around my yard.
Any coyotes out there, Rob?
Coyotes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big ones too. I was shocked. I saw a coyote one time come around the corner, and I thought it was a horse. I was like, look at that horse over there. And I'm looking, I'm like, that's not a horse, that's a coyote. And then it went down the hill.
Sized coyote right there.
We were shocked at how big it was.
The other morning, Barbara was opening up the shades to the house and blinds, and all of a sudden she looks out and there's 2 coyotes on her land, just walking, doing a stroll. They're doing their exercise. They're counting steps as they walk along, you know. But again, for people that have not experienced what we're talking about, just keep it in the back of your head. And you know something, even if you're there for a weekend, this isn't going to take up too much of your time. The shortest tour is a little over an hour, right, Rob?
Yep.
Yeah, and it's very comfortable. They're air conditioned. The vehicles are all in good shape. You just picked up another Bronco, right?
Yeah, we just got a Bronco, and I do private trips during the day only, a couple trips a day. So I take the doors off and the top off, and it's there it is. Yep. And
beautiful.
And I kind of go out during the lunchtime because I'm usually the emergency driver. So if one of my tours in the caravan gets a flat tire or something, I go out and rescue, give them my truck. So I take this Bronco out during the lunch hour. So we're the only ones out there, so to speak. And I spend a little more time. It's a little longer tour. It's more intimate.
Oh, that's good to know.
Everything's kind of open, and it's an open air experience. So that's an additional tour that we're doing this year. And then we just bought a boat. Can I mention
Tell
that?
us about that.
So I've always wanted a boat my whole life. And since I turned 60 a couple of years ago, we finally got a boat, and we're calling it Dune Good. And it fits 6 people to 24-foot, very comfortable boat. There it is.
Oh yeah.
We do scenic harbor tours because for the longest time, you know, the YNC did a great job doing harbor tours. Remember the YNC bet down here?
Yeah.
They stopped doing that. And really no one is doing like scenic harbor tours, like historic harbor tours. So we're kind of taking the model of a dune truck and putting it on the boat. So the captain, and I got 3 local captains. I don't know if you know Captain Bob Avalar from the old Captain John boats. He's retired now. He's one of our captains, but he'll take people out. He'll talk about the whaling and the fishing and, you know, the monument and the old Civil War forts on the Cape down at the point there. But you'll get a view of the harbor, and we do a combination package to do a dune tour and then a boat ride.
Oh,
so that's
the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
How are your bookings, Rob? Generally, if people want to take the day on an impulse, can they usually get a booking and get out?
Yes. Yeah. Sunsets are a little tough in July and August.
I'll bet. Yeah.
They need a week or so in advance. But the daytime ride, you could pretty much get on. July and August, you might want to do a day in advance.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does Rob Costa spend his winters?
We spend it in Jersey, right outside of Philly. That's where my husband's family's from. So we close, and I don't have much family up here left, and there's nothing else to do. Up here. So, you know, right outside of Philly. So we have the arts, you know, we like to go to the concerts and the sports, you know, we like to go to sports games. And so that's where we spend. And last year we went to Portugal for 6 days. We do one trip, and then I do a bunch of trade shows. So I go out on the road and try to promote Arts Dune Tours for motor coach businesses. So.
You mentioned the Algarve. Portugal is beautiful.
Oh my God.
The Azores. Yeah. I had the pleasure of being on the island of Madeira for 10 days. And I'll tell you, that was an eye-opener. People are so humble and so welcome.
Yeah.
But you're in the middle of the ocean on a freaking lava rock. And the roads are so narrow. If there's another vehicle coming at you, like say a school bus or something like that, you literally got to pull over to the right and stop to let them by. I mean, it is. But the people, I've never seen people that are more welcome in my whole life.
I agree.
Quite an experience, you know, and humble. Yeah. I mean, they'd be out there. They'd get the corn. They'd tie the ends to it, make a big long string of fresh corn. And then they try to toss it over the roof of their houses because they still have the old original Rob A-frames.
Yeah.
And they would toss it and dry it out in the sun. So in the wintertime, they could make their soups and whatever they made out of the corn.
Yep.
But that place, to me, it was like going back 300 years ago.
Yeah.
I hated to leave. It was just absolutely incredible. Have you ever been out to the island of Madeira?
Not Madeira. No, that's on my bucket list. We want to try to do that New Year's Eve this year, coming up. But we did the mainland, but then we just got back from San Miguel.
Oh, yeah.
Biggest
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Reed's Hotel is an old, stuffy English hotel that's on the island of Madeira. If you do go, it's quite an experience. You know, you show up at they start serving dinner at 7:00, and you're out in this big open veranda, and this guy comes out with a full tuxedo, tails on a tropical kind of island, and he's got one of those, I think it's called a xylophone, and he goes bing bong, bing bong bong, and that means supper is now being served in the main dining room. It is so freaking cool. I love it. I love it. Rob, I need one more break. You're with me till noontime. All right? Can you?
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Right, we'll be right back, everybody.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao!
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
Sisters and co-owners Antoinetta and Elisa brought their family authentic Italian recipes from Molise, Italy, and a warm and welcoming dining experience to its customers at Ristorante Molise. The combination of their meals made from natural, homemade, fresh ingredients, and your time with family and friends together at dinner time is unmatched. Located in Market Square in the heart of Amesbury, they're open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday from 3 to 9 p.m. and are available for private parties during off hours. For reservations, call them at 978-388-4844. That's 978-388-4844. Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas, with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Catadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Catadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy,
And Mike Kunstler.
owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Drake, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
he is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery, tender, lazy man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about Old Cape Cod. Love it. I'll tell you, New England, Cape Cod, Provincetown, how can you go wrong, really, huh? Tank full of gas away, hot skip and a jump. Like I say, in the middle of the week, man, I'll tell you, it's quite an experience. You can do almost anything you want and get into a great restaurant. So during the middle of the week is the best time, in my opinion, to go down there. I love going places in the middle of the week. Barbara Cody, Rob, is saying hello. Barbara is my significant other and my traveling companion. And she thought the same thing. She says, when the tour was over, she says, I'm so glad we did this. Nice. This was really quite an experience. So, you know, that kind of summarizes my thoughts exactly.
Thank you.
Price-wise, you don't mind discussing prices, do you? No.
It's about $40 a person for an hour ride. It's about $61 per person for the 2.25 hour sunset.
So that, I mean, compared to everything else, you go out for a meal, gee, you pay twice that, and you walk away, you're looking for a McDonald's to eat. Are there any McDonald's in Provincetown?
No,
right?
Nor are there any Dunkin' Donuts either.
No Dunkin' Donuts, no McDonald's. No. Oh, you guys are tough. Wow, that's good. That's not an easy thing to do either. Huh? Try to keep them out.
Only 2 towns on the Cape without a Dunkin'.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Truro, the next town over.
Oh, that's going too far.
The National Seaside Shore, from Provincetown going south, where does it end?
Around Chatham area.
So it'll start in Chatham and end in Provincetown, approximately.
Maybe not Chatham so much. Maybe like Orleans area, right at the elbow.
I'm not exactly too geography-wise. Which is the furthest point?
Chatham is further, and I don't want to think that there is national.
Okay. I don't want to put you in the spot.
Yeah, I think it's around near Orleans where the visitor center is.
just so that our listeners understand, if we took this into miles, approximately, how far?
Probably about 26 miles long on the Atlantic Ocean coast.
26 miles of beautiful seashore protected.
Wow. That's great.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus, I love it. The shacks. When did the shacks start become popular, like with artists and writers and filmmakers? Whereabouts in time when that transition was taking place?
Well, I think it's because Provincetown is pretty well known for being very artistic, and I think that the events that brought that to occur was the Cape Cod School of Art. Now, that was created back in 1899 here in Provincetown by Charles.
Way back then.
Yeah, 1899. Charles Hawthorne, who was an impressionist, he started the Cape Cod School of Art in Provincetown, which was considered one of the first school of arts of its kind in our country. So that makes Provincetown the oldest continuous art colony in the United States. Then you also, a few years later, 1914, I believe, Eugene O'Neill debuted his first play, Bound East for Cardiff. So you already had artists and painters and so forth from 1899 going forward, and then you bring theater into the mix.
Okay.
So you have all these artistic people in theater and art, and they were drawn to the beautiful scenery out there. So they were drawn to these little shacks for the solitude and stuff. So
who owned those shacks, though? That's my point.
Well, back before the Park Service, they were owned by individuals.
Individuals, okay.
So, like Coast Guard men built a lot of those shacks, and then they sold them to different people when they often retired or got decommissioned. They sold them to artists and writers. Some of them, every single one went to an artist or a writer, but many of them bought some of these shacks from the Coast Guard men. And then, but the funny thing is, they did not buy the land.
Yeah.
Okay, so none of these shack dwellers, except for one, own the land out there. So they were considered squatters when the government took over. So it was very controversial back then.
Because they wanted to get rid of them, right?
Back then the superintendent wanted to destroy, so they had a destruction policy, and they did destroy a few. But then that created a big push to preserve and protect the shacks over the years. So that happened. But,
Louis, you ever hear of a streetcar named Desire?
Of course. Yep.
Tennessee Williams?
Yep.
He was a resident of one of those shacks out
he?
there. Norman Mailer.
Nice.
Same thing.
Yep.
Norman Mailer loved going out there and spending time.
Eugene O'Neill was out there. He lived in the old life-saving station.
Yeah. No, you go out there, peaceful, quiet. Nobody bothers you, supposedly.
Good place to write.
You don't bother anybody. You got water. I noticed propane. They use propane quite a bit, right?
Yeah, propane gas and that's for stove and refrigeration.
Okay.
Some of them are starting to bring on some solar now.
Yeah. I noticed the guide that I had on the last trip. She was saying that the propane refrigerators, when it gets really hot, it doesn't really bring the temperature as cold as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be careful what you're doing, especially in the heat of the day.
Yeah.
But the propane, I can see that's very versatile. You can do it for almost anything.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Rob,
you're in a beautiful part of. I was going to say New England, but it really is part of New England. But you're not a New England born, right? Were you born?
I was actually born in New Britain, Connecticut.
Okay.
Only because I was 3 weeks early and my mom was there visiting.
Oh,
me.
sure. Blame it on your mother. Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All
right, Rob, you're out in the dunes every day. I'm sure it shows something a little bit different to you all the time. But what's the biggest surprise when you've gone out there? What stands out as the biggest thing you've seen and go, well, I didn't expect that here today?
You know what? It's the lighting. Yeah. The lighting always amazes me because I can't tell you how many pictures I have of the same thing. It's all because of the lighting.
Yeah.
I have so many pictures of one angle, and I'll tell you, it's the same angle, but it looks completely different with the lighting. And that's what amazes me out there. The light is just incredible.
Rob, is there anybody in your family that's going to be interested in taking over your business?
I'm hoping my nephew and my cousin Lisa.
Okay.
Like, I obviously have no kids, but yeah, so we like to try to keep it in the family. It's our 70.
Oh, absolutely. Your passion that your dad had driving that 1936 Ford Woody around, and the respect he had for the land. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
The respect he had for the, and it rubbed off on you. You talk about letting the air out of your tires so you get better traction. You're not digging ruts and destroying vegetation.
Yeah.
I just love it. When you mentioned the black races, I didn't realize that they were in that area, but they are one big freaking snake.
Yeah.
We had a hurricane back in 1955 came through our area, and I live relatively close to a river called the Shawshene River, and we had a raft. And of course, the river was swollen for quite a while. And when it started to recede a little bit, we're out in our raft, Louis, and this snake, this huge freaking snake, is trying to get on board the raft, scared the liver. I mean, I'm 10 years old.
Yeah, I don't know.
Scared the liver bejeebers out of me. But hey, I appreciate you taking the time and coming on with us. And I hope in the Costa family that you do have people that can do what you're doing and preserve this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful park forever and tomorrow. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It really is.
Thank you very much for having me.
You'd like to say to our listeners as we wind it up? We got a couple minutes left.
First, let me thank you very much for bringing me on the show. I really appreciate it. It's always nice to talk about the family history. And I always try to tell my guides to bring a little bit of the family history into the story, because it is important, being our 79th year. But for all you folks that have come back with us every year, I thank you for that, because we do have a lot of repeat business. And for all those who have never tried us before, I think you'll be completely amazed, and you'll probably say to yourself, wow, what took us so long to try this? It really is a truly beautiful experience. It's one of the top attractions on Cape Cod, and certainly one of the oldest family-run businesses on the Cape. Not the oldest, but it's definitely one of them. So we appreciate every single person that walks in that door, from A to Z, and come on down and see what it's all about.
Very well said. Very, very well said. And and it's not going to break your budget. That's the thing. Some places you go into and you just walk into a house, a historical house, and they're charging you $60.
Yeah.
Here you're experiencing it, you're looking at it, you're taking some fantastic pictures. Pictures are unbelievable.
Yeah.
And what you mentioned about the light, Rob,
yeah,
you can see that. The little time that I've spent, it's mind-boggling. And something, Guy, you got a very unique job.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm very grateful.
When I grow up, I want to be just like you. Yeah.
Well, your job's not too bad either.
This isn't a job. This is
That's
fun.
true,
I've
too.
always said that. We started doing this, and I love talking. I think you know that. And Louis and I, we compliment each other. He knows what buttons to push, and I get out here and I meet people. I have fun with it, and something that's all that counts, really. That's all that counts. Be happy at what you're doing, and looking at that grin you got.
Yeah,
man, I know you're one happy dude.
Yeah. Well, they say if you enjoy what you do, you never really work.
Hey, listen, I told you before that our show is on Facebook and on YouTube. You can watch it 24/7. You can watch the whole show, part of the show, whatever you want. And something, when you're kicking back tonight and you're having a martini, and something, take a look check your beard out. Make sure it looks trim. You know what I mean? What do you think? You think I'd look good with a beard?
Yes, you would, Mike.
I think you would.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have
Time
to
for the
dye it
beard.
though. I think. I don't know. Having white in my face.
No, I think
my head. I don't know.
you
Rob,
look distinguished.
that's the end of the Sicilian corner, brother.
All right.
Listen, take care of yourself. I hope you can come back, guy.
Yeah, I will anytime. I love it.
I'm curious about the boat tour. That should be a
I'll
blast.
take some video and send it to you.
You know, do a boat tour in the morning.
You can do it from the boat.
Land cruise in the afternoon.
You get enough signal, you can do it from the boat.
Yeah, that'd be.
Do it on the phone. That'd be fun.
Oh, cool beans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that's an idea, Rob.
Hey, Esther takes us around Sicily. He can pull it off in the harbor.
Or we can maybe do it on the big dune, and then when people come up to do the picture stop, you can interview some of them.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't want to see a black racer, though. I don't like them. They scared me when I was a kid. Hey, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. I know Mother's Day. Man, I'll tell you, you guys deserve everything and more. A woman's job is never done. A woman works twice as hard as any man I know.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Mother's Day. Take care, everybody. Next week, we'll be back.
Thank you so much.